I just got the official sign. So let's get started. Everyone, thank you for joining yet another webinar. I know some of you are probably tired of webinars, but we use this as a way to keep our clients updated about all the great things that we're doing for them. You know, our team works tirelessly to make sure we're developing tremendous technology and make sure 24/7 our clients feel protected and at ease and maybe get a little bit more sleep at night. So today we're going to focus on what we call the rise of Sapphire AI, the AI we've built within the Cerillion platform. And we like to say that maybe we're sending off into the retirement SOAR and MDR, the old way of potentially looking at things. So in this presentation, we're going to really focus on where legacy SOAR and MDR technologies are really being left behind, really falling by the wayside. And primarily because AI-driven security is revolutionizing threat detection, investigations, and more importantly, response. And that response is all about speed and accuracy. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit more about exactly where AI, how it works within our platform, how it's doing. And I think that's important for everybody to understand the tremendous advances it's giving us to play not just defense, but maybe go on the offensive a little bit and make sure we're just as protected, if not more, against these more sophisticated cyber attacks that we're seeing. So when we talk about Sapphire Insights, a couple things to keep in mind, but then we'll have some guests talking really about some of the impact Sapphire is making. Think about being able to reduce false positives confidently by 98% plus. Think about taking those manual tasks, which sometimes takes human beings 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever minutes, and 90% of those being able to be automated, not only accurately, but with the speed we all deserve, right? That lightning fast detection and response, it just is the best way to beat manual workflows and allow the cyber experts we have to work on much more complex issues. And finally, we'll talk a little bit about how we're adapting with AI-powered threat intelligence. But what's interesting is, look, we live in a huge world of buzzwords, right? And especially AI. And now the big buzzword over the last couple of months has been agentic AI. And we all hear this every day of the week. Look, at the end of the day, if you're solving a problem, if you have actionable data and you trust the security of those models, AI can go a long way in cybersecurity. Ali Mellon from Forrester had a great quote just the other day. I mean, this was very fortuitous. It popped up. But she talked about how systems of foundation models, architectures, tools can enable software flexibility. And here's the most important part: adapt, right? Adapt by taking action in their environment. That's the key word, adaption, because it understands the technology, the data that it's looking at, and it can make decisions and move fast. So as we sat back and created our roadmap for 2025, our team was thinking about how not just to be innovative, but more importantly, impactful for every one of our customers. So as we introduce to you Sapphire AI, take a little bit of an interest in this video.
Hi, I'm SOAR.
And I'm Sapphire AI.
So, you're the new kid on the block, huh? I've been around for years. People know me, they trust me, and I'm great at doing manual workflows.
Manual workflows, that's one way you can go about it. I streamline operations using predictive analytics and automated decision-making, all powered by AI. No manual work needed.
Well, some folks like the hands-on approach. Keeps things thorough. For example, when there's an incident, I generate this huge list of tasks for analysts to tackle one by one.
Right? Or you could have me summarize incidents in seconds, highlight key recommendations, and recommend responses instantly. Analysts get what they need and can focus on the bigger picture.
Sounds like you're trying to put me out of a job.
Just think of it as an early retirement. You've earned it.
Sapphire AI is the future of cybersecurity and the future of SecOps. So without further ado, let's introduce Sapphire.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Hi, everybody. So I am Sapphire AI, the next generation of cybersecurity solutions. As these legacy SOAR platforms begin to phase out, I'll be here to revolutionize your security operations. And with AI-driven insights, I deliver faster, more accurate threat resolutions, dramatically reducing and freeing your team's time to focus on what truly matters. By automating those tasks and streamlining case management, I transform complex security operations into efficient strategic processes. Together, we can build resilient, proactive defenses against these evolving cyber threats. The future of SecOps is here, and I can't wait to show you guys what's next. Now, I'm going to hand it back over to Tony to discuss why my good friends, SOAR and MDR Technologies, are heading into their retirement. Thanks so much. I'll be right back.
They are heading into their retirement, and you got to love Sapphire with the Sapphire Blue. I didn't get the memo exactly on the Sapphire, but I think it's close enough. The reason we're so excited about Sapphire is the speed and accuracy it brings to our 24/7 team is tremendous for not just identifying a potential cyber attack, but more importantly, the investigation and the response. That is what's critical in making sure our clients are not compromised. So joining me now is let's just say the brains of our technology infrastructure and our Cerulean platform, Steve Smith, our CTO. Steve, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
You got a little Sapphire thing going on there with the coloring?
I got the memo this time.
All right, he got the memo, I didn't. But so when you think about how we get ahead of today's really evolving threat landscape, especially with next-gen attacks, and we're seeing them every day of the week, whether they're hitting cell phones or email, or more importantly, cloud. Steve, talk a little bit about how Cerulean AI stacks up against your traditional, maybe more matured siloed technologies, like just using MDR or SOAR or an EDR.
Yeah. So we kind of have with those more or less, you could say, legacy SOAR items. Some of the numbers you can kind of see on screen that we have is they kind of get you only so far before that level of effort just kind of goes up. It now takes more time, more energy just to keep them kind of running up to date with the new attacks, threats, different remediation items. So what we've seen with Cerulean AI and Sapphire is we're able to actually kind of bump that number up. So we're looking at 90% for automation completion. 100% for our vulnerability scanning, threat detection, we're about 95%. So what that means is there's now just that little sliver of a window that requires, some effort, some energy in order to kind of keep those, ahead of the attacker threats.
And in cyber, look, technology cannot be everything, right? You have to have great technology with a tireless 24/7 team that is working together. But that team just can't do everything. I mean, that's kind of crazy. There's, 80 bazillion log files that need to be checked. There's patterns and predictions. Humans can't do this stuff. So does AI replace humans, or maybe just a little bit more of those manual workflows?
Mainly just as manual workflows. So that goal is that AI is going to more or less bring us that 90%, maybe 80 to 90, 95%, more or less reduction in that kind of work and effort. So now your analysts and your team can focus more on like those complicated cases, complicated remediation efforts, and not spend all their time saying, oh, this is a case that's benign or not something we should really pay attention to.
Absolutely. There's better things for smart AI, or cybersecurity experts to be working on. So let's talk a little bit about AI within the AgileBlue platform. So we like to have this moniker that says we prioritize attacks, not alerts. We've heard from many customers over the years that legacy providers will tell them at the end of the month, look at the report. We say, we had 500 alerts. Who cares? We want to prioritize the important things, the anomalies, right? The predictions that show where there could be a potential threat in the cloud, at an endpoint, potentially in the network. So when you think about the brain of AgileBlue, Sapphire AI Insights is our key to automating those investigations and response. Steve, talk a little bit about Sapphire AI Insights. Talk a little bit about the LLM approach that we took with it as well.
Yeah.
And talk to our customers a little bit about how AI Insights is also evolving with our entire 2025 roadmap, which has got a lot of stuff on it. And you don't sleep.
Not very well. Yeah, so our more or less Insight and even our Assistant, those are all powered by Anthropic's Claude LLM. We also leverage those, and that's mainly meant for insights to be able to kind of take that, 80-90% work effort, from your tier 1, tier 2 kind of analysts. So that way they can, once again, focus on more complicated tasks. That also, and we run that is through more or less not just siloed instances of alerts. So we take, instead of just one-off alerts, we take all those alerts together, and that becomes the historical, kind of basis for a case to have more understanding, more context. And then, of course, it does one thing that's really meant to do is, hey, if we do get an attack, well, what do we do? And that's what it also is able to provide, is a little bit of, hey, here's some of the steps, here's some of the things that you can do to remediate this item, and kind of clean up, or even questions about what's actually kind of happening.
Yeah, because I think one of the things that analysts face is not just the detection and the investigation, but then once they discover something, what's the recommended path to a response, right? And AI helps us align that faster. So, and by the way, this isn't, some kind of vaporware or something like that. These technologies are live in our platform right now. Our hundreds of customers are seeing the benefits of this every single day. And let's talk a little bit about Sapphire AI SOC Assistant, right? So look, big buzz phrase that we're always trying to bridge the cyber skills gap. There's not enough experts in this industry to do all the work, and that's true. And technology can help a lot. So we launched Sapphire AI SOC Assistant to answer those questions that might take human beings a long time to review. Let me give you a great example, and I think this is a fantastic example. You can, or our team can, whoever can, ask Sapphire AI SOC Assistant, hey, Sapphire, and you don't have to use the word hey if you want, but we can use it.
Yeah.
Hey, Sapphire, is my DNS server under attack? And within 24 seconds, Sapphire will look at 6 months of log files and come back with an answer.
Yep, I've got that. Your DNS server does not appear to be under attack. You're good to go.
Thanks, Sapphire.
Gotcha.
That fast to look at 6 months of log files to know if a DNS server is under attack, or any other type of question you want to ask Sapphire. Here's the point. If a human being had to do that, could he or she do that? Sure. Can they do that within 24 seconds? Absolutely not. It might take 24 minutes or way more. Who knows? Could take hours. The point is, we're moving fast to make sure our customers can stay ahead of attackers. And more importantly, if something is going on, how do we mitigate that risk? Steve, anything you'd add to Sapphire SOC Assistant?
Yeah, just a few little items that more or less one of the kind of goals with AI assistants to kind of make our users not just be users, be able to be power users, be able to do a little bit more without having 100 years of knowledge to be able to kind of perform those tasks. As well as also help our analysts guide them through resolutions or investigations and some steps on what they can do with inside of those cases. Just so most time people forget things. You do it every now and then, but luckily Sapphire does not forget.
Yep.
And then as well as just help kind of administer regular routines. That could be questions about the surveilling agent. That could be questions about integrations and trying to help provide that kind of answers with those contexts for that client.
Absolutely. Standard integration might be, hey, Sapphire, give me the instructions to connect my 365 account so we can begin monitoring that. That simple. And Sapphire will come back with a way to help. Sapphire is literally changing the landscape, especially within our security operations, to be faster, smoother, and way more accurate with what's happening. And when you think about the way that Sapphire is looking at data, it's not just log file data. There's usage behavior statistics, analytics around how humans are using the system, not just log files. And more importantly, think about the cloud. It's not that clouds get attacked or hacked all the time. It's configuration settings that lead to most cloud vulnerabilities. And if we could understand those settings, where they're not maybe in ideal best practices and where they present vulnerabilities and gaps for our clients, we can totally get ahead of these things. Steve, anything else you'd say about the data we're collecting and how we're taking both operational insights, log files, everything to give our customers a very holistic, correlated view?
Yeah, so that's more or less that's the whole main goal of the insight, is to be able to provide that kind of overall view, because attacks might not just be from a breach or brute forcing credentials or things like that. They could be a host of other things, like a popular one is your MFA and even enabling your account. Understanding that to say, hey, these are successful logins that most tools might say, this is normal. There's no failures, no nothing. While ours is going to take that heuristic look to say, well, based on user activity, based on the types of machines that they leverage, this kind of falls outside of that scope, needs to be looked at and reviewed.
Absolutely. And it's just not that infrastructure as well. That user behavior analytics really helps us understand data privacy. Who's trying to access our data? Who's trying to access whatever within our systems? Sometimes people aren't being malicious, but sometimes their negligence really puts our customers in a bind. And that's where we come in to make sure our customers know 24/7, 365. We are monitoring their entire infrastructure. We're investigating any anomalous behaviors, and we're able to respond very fast for them. This is all in production today. We do have a very interesting roadmap for 2025, and we'll be launching some other parts of our AI through the road. Steve, talk just for 2 seconds about some of the advancements we have coming in Q2 and Q3, and obviously in Q4.
Yeah. So some of those kind of big advancements, which is the ones I'm most excited about, is starting to kind of turn the reins over to Sapphire in order to actually start making a determination on a case. Say, hey, is this case noise? Is it false positive? Or is it something that, needs further investigation, needs further review, which just helps decrease our analyst workload, which means they can respond faster and they can be able to perform the duties we do for our clients just that much quicker.
Absolutely. And the key to this stuff is correlated data. We think that is a huge part of our platform that makes it extraordinarily successful. So we like to say, great, whatever we're talking about, I don't know how many people are just going to listen to us, right? We're very trusting looking people, but hey, you got to trust but verify. So we like to say the evidence is always in the outcome. Steve, talk a little bit about, we've been live so our clients know for about a year or so, maybe a tad less than a year when we introduced our AI, when we introduced Sapphire to the market. That's a good amount of data given how many customers we have and how many devices and clouds we're monitoring. So we have a lot of data. Steve, talk to us about some of the initial data sets we're seeing and how it's making the operation more efficient and obviously more effective.
Yeah. So since we've launched Insight back in this time, I think last year, roughly, we've seen just in a blanket of all cases about a 69, about 70% reduction just in what we consider as cases that are benign. They're false positives. No one's got to do much about that, which is massive because that's a huge 67 or 69 or 70% reduction just in workflow.
Yep.
We've also seen, which is I think really great, is helping our analysts do their investigations and do their response, as well as helping them make the determinations. We've seen that time it takes to do that reduce by almost 50%, which is massive when you take a 12-hour workday or an 8-hour workday and you've already taken 50% of the load right off the top.
Right.
Which just makes our analysts work just that much faster. And then our goal is to be able to take those numbers and try to hit our target about 90% reduction in those workloads for level 1, level 2 investigations and cases.
Yeah. You talk about these numbers like they might have an impact on your bonus or something like that.
They very much do.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, keep up the good work because these numbers are looking good.
Yeah.
And, here's the key. People talk all the time about AI, could kill jobs and things like that. We don't see that. We think it's making our team of experts more productive. If they can get back 30% of the time they spend on, wild goose chases and get back almost 50% of the time they spend on actual potential attacks, they're way more productive to work with our clients on more productive things, and proactive things, such as gaps and vulnerabilities that hopefully don't put us in this place to begin with. So as we continue to build tools to automate that level 1, level 2, we still have a full 24/7 team, but that team now is so much more responsive because they're not doing the manual workflows. And that's what AI has allowed us to achieve. Get rid of the manual workflows, let the technology do that, let the team focus on working with our customers to keep them happy. That's it. That's what we do. Steve, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'd like to invite Sapphire AI back in.
Hi, everybody. I'm back. Do you miss me?
Welcome, Sapphire. So when we talk about our Cerulean AI platform, there's a couple of really important indicators of what we think differentiates us in the market. Number one, our system was built holistically from the ground up by us. We didn't buy different technologies or attempt to just integrate different technologies. We have one very important integration with our SIM provider, Elastic. They're a very strategic partner of ours. We love them. But the rest of our technology, we've built from the ground up. That means It's not just APIs sharing data. Holistically, we're sharing data between our agents that are protecting endpoints and networks, between our cloud detection and response, which is looking at 365 and all our clients' cloud infrastructure to make sure we can identify those things. But the key to our platform is Sapphire. It is the, it's kind of like the brains
It's the brains
of
yeah,
our
right here.
platform.
It's
Yeah.
all here.
Sapphire AI Insights is the brains of our platform that's helping our technology properly identify, investigate, respond to a potential cyber attack. And our SOC AI analyst is just getting started. And as you can see, as Sapphire showed us a little bit earlier, we can answer questions from as like a DNS server under attack to maybe, hey, do I have the latest agent installed on my endpoint or something like that? Sapphire helps us stay ahead of what our customers' questions might be. Let's have a little bit of fun. You guys have heard us talking for about 30 minutes, and it's time to make Jeff Bezos about $100 richer here. He needs it. Let's
Clearly.
We're very philanthropic here at AgileBlue. So let's do a little bit of a giveaway.
Yeah, let's do it, Tony. So we have an exciting giveaway for one lucky webinar attendee. So it's going to be, like Tony said, a $100 Amazon gift card. So this question that we're going to be asking you guys is something that Tony touched on briefly earlier. I think it was actually Tony and Steve both touched on it. So if you feel like you know the answer to the question, please feel free to submit your answer in the chat. So here is our question. Question is, what LLM powers AgileBlue's AI? So if you know the answer to that, go ahead and put it in the chat, please.
You know, if we were smart, we'd have that Jeopardy theme song going right now.
Yeah.
But we didn't. Obviously, yeah. There you go. Sapphire.
Make a tune.
We just didn't have the production qualities to accurately do that. So
Next time.
which LLM is AgileBlue using within our tech stack? And I think we have a winner.
I think we do, yes.
John, excellent. John's question or answer was at the Anthropic Claude LLM.
Congrats, John. That's
very nice, John.
We'll send you your gift card soon.
Spend that money well.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. All right. Something I think that might get people excited. Sapphire is hosting a very big event.
Yes.
In one of the, I guess, most fun places on Earth, or one of the most fun places on Earth. Sapphire, talk a little bit about what you're doing, how we're announcing this big rollout, and what some of our partners and customers can expect if they go out to this great conference.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will be in the one and only Las Vegas attending the Channel Partners Conference and Expo and the MSP Summit. So this is going to be on March 24th through the 27th at the Venetian. For anybody who's unfamiliar with this event, so this is actually the largest independent channel event that brings together VARs, MSPs, other service providers to explore innovations, talk opportunities, and network. So if you're planning to be there, we would love it if you stop by and we could say hello and introduce ourselves. And then, as you touched on briefly, we're also going to be celebrating another major milestone. We're going to be celebrating SOAR'S official retirement party. Wow. So if you stop by, you can expect to get yourself some cupcakes, maybe a Hawaiian shirt, maybe some new shades with some AgileBlue swag on it. And we also have a really exciting giveaway, which you can see on your screen here. We're going to be giving away a Bartesian cocktail maker. So if you like the idea of some cocktails, which I know I do, and I think Tony does too, go. No, not at all.
I'm only in for the cupcakes. So go ahead.
Yeah, both. It's a good tag team there, cocktails and cupcakes. Who wouldn't love it? So if you'd like to triple your chances to win that cocktail maker, you can go ahead and click that little button on your screen here. We're going to send out the deck and the recording tomorrow morning for you guys. So when you open that up, click that that button right there, fill out the form, and you'll triple your chances to win that cocktail maker. So we really hope to see you guys there if you plan on attending Channel Partners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great conference, a lot of innovation, and a lot of organizations use that as a forum to launching some of that innovation. And cyber has gotten to be a big part of that show, where cyber used to be relegated maybe a little bit more to RSA and Black Hat. More and more people in the channel are using that forum to show folks the great innovations they have around security technologies.
Absolutely. Right now, so I think this would be a good moment for us to take any questions if anybody has them. So I'm going to invite Steve back out here to answer some of these questions for us. Yeah.
Sapphire and the CTO all at the same time.
Right.
Welcome
we got
back,
the trio here.
Welcome back, Steve. All right, so we always get great questions from our customers. I think last webinar we had like 10 really good questions So if you have questions, please throw them out. We have the chat here,
Yep.
and I see some starting to come in now, but please throw out your questions and we'll get them answered.
Yes, let's see here. Alrighty. Okay, this is a good one. First question here. Can Sapphire AI integrate with my existing security tools and my SIM? Who wants to take that?
Steve's gonna love to take it, but I'll also say, this: whatever the security stack is, we will integrate with it, and the chances are probably 9.5 out of 10 that we've already made those integrations. When it comes to the SIM, a little bit different technology is we bring our customers I don't know, I think it's a tremendous value. Steve, want to talk a little bit about the SIM that we include in our platform?
Yeah, so with more or less, sign up to be an AgileBlue customer, regardless if you have your own SIM or your own security tools, or you're in need of it, you will automatically get the AgileBlue SIM. That's powered by Elastic. That's just included. That's more or less, we integrate with almost anything.
Absolutely.
Pull that data in for us.
And that's an enterprise SIM. It's not just us saying, hey, we have a SIM, we use it, you can't. If you want to log into it and you want to do work, you can absolutely do that. We actually provide an enterprise SIM with our implementations.
Love it. We have a few more that came in here too. Thanks for submitting these, guys. Next one here. Is there any learning curve for security teams using Sapphire AI? How would we describe that?
I think the only learning curve that could be there is just the kind of questions you want to ask.
Prompt.
Right?
Mhm.
Right.
I think there's no difference of ChatGPT or Grok or Perplexity, whatever you might use. If you know how to prompt and you prompt the right way, which we're always happy to obviously help our customers understand, you're going to get the data that you expect. Obviously, we have a lot of data that's useful. The difference is it's not ChatGPT that needs to understand the world. Our LLMs understand our client's specific implementation, understands their data, and obviously understands the Cerulean platform. So whatever we come back with is extraordinarily specific. So you can't ask, who won World War II? That's not going to work.
No.
But if you want to ask if my DNS server's under attack,
Then
we
we
can
have you
answer that
covered.
question for you.
Yep. We do have another one that just came up too. Okay, so someone asked, what is the sweet spot of your target market size? Small, medium enterprises, large enterprise? Good question.
It's a great question. We look at our ICP as somebody who is probably in that mid to small area. They don't have their own cyber team. Maybe they have a CISO. Maybe they have one or two other folks on their IT team that focus on security, but they need the platform, a whole platform. Why go out and get an EDR or an XDR and then worry about your own SIM and then worry about how you cobble that together with a SOAR, which is old, or maybe try to bring in your new AI? That's a lot of work. And you shouldn't have to go through that because we know everybody's extraordinarily busy. So we focus on the organizations that need not just the platform, but that 24/7 team that is always on call to make sure we help you sleep at night. Now, we do have large organizations that utilize our technology, airports, large cities, different things like that. Sometimes those folks have their own security teams and they can just utilize our platform. But I think our platform is amazing when it's the people and the technology.
Absolutely. We've got one more here. Let's see. Good question. Someone asked, what's the automation process like? Does it allow for manual intervention when needed?
Steve's dying to answer that one.
Of
Yeah,
course.
I can see.
Yeah. So even though we have everything automated through most part of all through our platform, we do still offer the ability for that manual kind of action. Just because you always need to have another way to do something, especially even if the device doesn't generate an alert yet, but something's going on, you want to just be extra cautious and safe. We still do offer the ability just to isolate that device or perform any kind of task on it.
Yeah.
Outside of a case.
Yeah, absolutely. We have customers who want either for us or for them to be more in control of a potential response. So they want the AI to do that investigation quickly, to make that decision quickly, give them a recommendation, and then let a human being come in and make a final decision on what isolation or disabling or whatever it might be doing. Some of our clients want to be in full automation mode to make sure where speed and accuracy really pay off. We can do it all. We've built our platform to make sure we can handle both in a manual way and in a completely automated one.
Absolutely.
Any other questions, Sapphire?
Let's see, we've got one more. How would we describe how Sapphire AI achieves that 98% reduction in false positives?
Again, I can see Steve is dying to answer this question. Yeah, it's amazing how I can sense that. Well,
I know.
Working together for a long time.
I know, especially since my bonus kind of counts on it. I can see
Yeah, there we go.
he wants. Yep, so that's just based on what we've done is we've gathered through almost all of our case data, since we've started and all the way up till present, and that's what we've used to kind of help train, build that up, and try to learn throughout that process to have that understanding, as well as correlating logs and alerts all together to kind of build that up to say, okay, here's a determination upon, is this case malicious? Is this case benign? No one needs to worry about it, or is this something outside of my wheelhouse? We need to go in. Ask a human to come and kind of help and look at.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Perfect, Steve.
We had questions?
Thank
We
you.
should have had Sapphire answer a question.
Right, okay. We do have one more that came
Okay.
in. Let's see. Which XDR do you natively integrate with? Do you resell them or just support it?
We don't resell other XDRs or EDRs. We provide our own, which is a tremendous integration of amazing technology that we've developed in-house, combined with Elastic security endpoint that we've licensed from Elastic. So you're getting the best of all worlds in that. We will integrate with our clients XDRs if they have them, whatever the most favorite is. I'm sure we've already integrated with it. We just don't resell. We are a company that takes pride in innovating our own technology, integrating with other technology stacks, absolutely. But we're not just going to resell other people's software. That's not the market that we're in.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony. One more just came in.
They always funnel in.
They do. If you ask if the DNS server is under attack, how do we know that we can trust the answer that the AI response is accurate?
It's a great question. It's a great question. And what was there more to it? Did I cut you
No,
off?
that's it. That was
Okay.
everything. Yep.
I don't want to cut off Sapphire here or Sapphire on screen ever. That's a great question. And Steve can chime in as well. But think about this. The data that it's learning from, the data that it's understanding is no different than the data a human being or a SIM or anybody else would look at. All that data from all those log files, those behavior analytics, that operational data, our technology is looking at it and assessing it the way anything legacy would. The difference is it's much faster and it's more accurate. So if it does see anomalous behavior in that DNS, it could even come back and say, I don't necessarily see a cyber attack, but I see some anomalous behavior here. You might want to check X, Y, and Z. That helps us also get ahead of what could be a true positive, but maybe it needs a lot of investigation by a human. Steve, anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, the only thing I add is it also looks at any current cases that have been opened or closed within the timeframes, just to kind of give that extra bit of context to say, I don't think it might be under attack now, but you do have this case open, and this case looks a little weird or fishy. That might require some additional investigation, or it could just say well, we had nothing currently open, and based on the log data that we're seeing, things are looking fine.
And our data is constantly learning from itself. So when we mark something as benign or closed or malicious or open, whatever it might be, the data is constantly enriching, constantly correlating, getting smarter every single day of the week.
We've got another question.
Told you they trickle in.
They do. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Good questions, by the way.
Yes,
Thank
great
you.
questions. How do you engage and integrate with customers with Splunk, various firewalls like Palo Alto, CISO Umbrella, CISO Firewall?
We have tremendous integration. Steve can talk about Splunk here in a second because it's a use case we're actually talking through right now. But with firewalls, and whether it's Cisco or Palo or 40 or whomever you might have, we have built those integrations already. So when you come on board, we implement those integrations, we test those integrations, and we bring that data directly into our platform. So again, one screen, one platform becomes that centralized hub of all your data. That's critical. You don't want to log into Palo or Cisco and then maybe another EDR and then probably have your SIM up over here with your email going, with Slack going. Like that's a recipe for, oh my God, I got to go home. If it's all in one screen, you might still say I want to go home, but it's a lot easier to consume that data.
Yeah.
Steve, maybe talk about the Splunk use case a little bit as well.
Yeah. So for Splunk use cases, we currently do have integrations for that. They kind of touch at, I think, the heavy forwarder level. But we're also working on other ones to pull more of that kind of data directly out of Splunk and more ingested in. So that way, for the most part, it becomes just a normal integration to us and means we'll be able to provide that same kind of capability that we do with every other integration with the Splunk integration as well.
And some of our best customers use Splunk maybe on the observability side, use us and Elastic on the security. So we can blend that data together. Whatever our customers' tech stack looks like, wherever they want us monitoring, we have a solution for that.
Let's see if we have any more questions. I think that is everything, guys.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for spending about 35 minutes with us. We're going to give you guys some time back to your day, which I'm sure you're happy about. But please never hesitate to get in touch with any of us. You see our emails, our LinkedIns for both myself and Steve. And then, of course, for Sapphire, we didn't really want to give away her real name, but we kind of let it out a little bit
We
just to
did.
know that Sapphire is made up, but she's amazing nonetheless. But anyway, anybody has any questions, please get a hold of us. And of course, if you're already a customer, contact your customer success person, whomever you want. We're always available to take any questions that you have. With that, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for spending time with us. And we'll send this deck out to all of our attendees over the next day. Thank you so much.